I look forward to these great moments of interacting with my precious audience, which I'm told are thousands of you. African Ascent, to your great credit, because you've been encouraging me and giving me positive feedbacks, has established this tradition thanks to the participation of Berklee College of Music, the leading college for the study of contemporary music, a tradition of bringing you musicians from Berklee. In the past, African Ascent has brought acclaimed professors of music, and in 2 or 3 occasions, it has also brought some of our emerging young artists. Consistent with that tradition of greatness that I give credit to Berklee College of Music for, tonight we'll have a great musical festivity with 3 emerging young musicians whom I have had the privilege of getting to know them through the efforts of one of my students, Ed Taylor, the drummer, whom I uncovered very recently. And then when I twisted his arms with limited time to bring players that he could stage for African Ascent, he did bring 2 promising emerging musicians, namely Ed Henry and Ed Taylor himself. I'm blanking on the name, Ben Henry, that's right, and Nick Twinney. So we have a drummer, a pianist on a keyboard, and also a guitarist. So I invite my audience to participate, to stay tuned and enjoy this great music from Berklee College of Music.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Kids will spend 8 minutes decorating their little brother.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
In 1990, in Severn, Maryland, the daughter of a clergyman was discovered by a music industry insider while pumping gas at a service station. The odds of her getting signed and spending 11 weeks at #1 on the U.S. singles charts? 1 in 19 million. The odds of this former church choir singer going on to sell 40 million records? 1 in 15 million. The odds of the same woman winning 6 Grammy Awards and starring in 2 Broadway plays? 1 in 75 million. The odds of this musician and performer having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
What a great opportunity for Afghan Ascent to have witnessed quite a piece of musical performance. In fact, when I was listening to you, I couldn't help but think about the kind of relationships that you must have established with your own musical instruments. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about what kind of relationship you have with your drums.
With my drums, I pretty much...
They're very close.
Yeah, they're very close to me. I grew up with them really throughout high school. I started playing in high school. So all through high school, while I was going through all the changes that high schoolers go through, I always had the drums to like lay back on and kind of anchor me down to something. So it's just like another extension of me, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Because as you know, I'm very fortunate to have discovered you this semester in my Introduction to Western Philosophy course. And I repeatedly noted that you're a very quiet student. So there seems to be a contradiction between your interest in drums, which are by definition quite loud, until after you musically control them, correct? And you, this very quiet student, how do you work out the contradictions?
Try living with him.
Well, I mean, I play pretty quietly as in comparison to other drummers I've met. You know, I enjoy keeping it simple and keeping it low. that might be because I used to get yelled at all the time for being too loud in the garage or in school or whatever, you know. But yeah, I like the subtleties of the drums, and you can get a lot of sounds without beating on them, you know.
Yes, that's what I learned from this music. It's so calm, so serene. You don't seem to gesticulate when you're playing drums. All that I notice is this quiet movement of your fingers, and what it produces great sound.
Thank you.
So do you rehearse a lot?
Yeah, I practice a lot. You know, I practiced to get to Berklee. I practiced, you know, I was practicing every day for hours. And now that I'm here, it's just so much more fun to practice with people like this who you meet, you know, every day in your classes, and everybody's just amazing. So yeah, I'd say I practice a lot, and I work really hard on, you know, with the fingers you were saying, to keeping it down and controlled, you know, so I have a full range of motion with keeping the volume at a volume
So
I
you
like.
consciously control that?
Yes.
And the competition with the presence of other drummers at Berklee must be quite intense.
I don't think of it as competition, though. You know, I have a lot of great friends who are also drummers, and it's great to like be able to learn and share with them, and I love sharing what I get every day out of my classes, and you know, they share with me, and it's a really communal community of drummers, I feel. There's a lot of them.
There is also that human urge, correct me if I'm correct, to stand out. Of course you would like to win some kind of award by standing out as one of the best drummers that Berklee has to produce. There must be that kind of pressure that occasionally hits you, correct?
It used to, and then I realized there's no such thing as a best drummer or a best musician. You know, I can be the best that I can be and play the music that I want to play to the best of my ability, but you know, I'm never going to be the best because other people play differently. You know, it's down to personal preference once you hit a certain ceiling.
So you drummers don't compete at all? I'm sure you do.
I'm sure there are other drummers who compete. I'm not one of them.
That doesn't bother you?
Not at all.
I see. And of course, Ben, by the way, you have a beautiful name. No wonder why I blanked out on it. I've never blanked out on a name before.
No, it's okay.
Please forgive me. It doesn't mean anything. Anyway, Ben, you are quite a great guitarist. Very impressive.
Thank you.
When did you pick up the guitar and then decided to just do that and only that instrument?
I started playing piano when I was, I think 3 years old, or maybe 5.
3 years old?
Yeah, something very young. My parents enrolled me in, you know, a sort of, it was called kinder music. It was like a way to learn rhythms and things like that as a kid, and kind of get involved with other children learning musical things. I'm sure I didn't like it at the time, but those sorts of things definitely paid off, like later on in life when, you know, I had taken lessons and already developed an ear for music. But yeah, I started playing the bass guitar around, I believe 13.
About 13?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to continue this. I think we're going to take a very short break. And then when we come back, I really want to go back and listen to you more intently. So Ben, you began playing the piano at the age of 3.
Yeah.
Then you gradually began developing an interest in the guitar.
Yeah, so my parents made me do piano for, you know, however many years until I was in the 8th grade. And then finally my dad was like, okay, because for a long time I had wanted to stop and try something else or just stop because, you know, the idea of practicing at that age was horrendous. So, but yeah, I eventually just went to a music shop, a local music shop, and a guy picked up a guitar and a guy picked up a bass guitar, and I heard both and I was like, oh man, I want to play the bass guitar. And so from there on out, really from about age 13, I'm 20 now, been playing ever since, yeah.
And you enjoy every minute of it. It's very evident.
Yeah, no, I mean, like when I was in high school, like when I would make my parents mad, they would take my bass away from me. That was like my punishment.
Amazing.
So yeah, it was a big part of my life. But then I actually went to a different school before Berklee, and then after I went to another university for a year, I decided I wanted to pursue music more seriously and transferred into Berklee, and Berklee's been great. Yeah, meeting people like this. I live with Eddie. Yeah, we were roommates last year, so yeah, it's been great.
And then how did you begin developing an interest in jazz? You must have some mentor.
Yeah, no, I totally like Eddie, I did jazz in high school. I did the jazz band, and at the time I had no idea what jazz was. Like I'd heard it and could say, oh yeah, that's jazz, but I didn't know how to play it or really what was going on when they put music in front of me. And for a long time, I taught myself a lot, and just I had to hear the band and figure out what to play by ear, and then figure out what the notes were on the music. It was backwards instead of me reading the notes first, but. It started to pick up, and I really developed an interest in it through high school, really. And that's why we shouldn't get rid of those programs in school.
And of course, we all have models, right? People that we admire. Who are some of these great jazz players that you admire, that you model yourself after? Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has the players that they started listening to, especially when they first started picking up the instrument. I think usually those are the players that are most influential. I mean, I could be wrong. At least for me, it was like that. But I really started to fall in love with music as, a whole, and the whole idea of what it is to be a musician and how it, you interact with other people without really even speaking a word. We sit down and we can interact with just our instruments. So it was more that I became interested in than really, idolizing some particular bass player, wanting to be like him. I just wanted, the idea of being a musician to me was just so fascinating. So that's what got me really into it. But yeah, I mean, I love Jaco Pastorius, and I really loved Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's a rock group, nothing to do with jazz, but yeah, lots of people.
Okay. Nick, you play that keyboard so passionately. Yeah. You must like your keyboard a lot.
Yeah.
You were looking at it, and I was watching you, and
you
seemed to really have some kind of conversation going on between you and the keyboard. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure. I started keyboard when I was younger, but never really had too many lessons, so I just taught myself how to play, and off YouTube and various other internet things. So yeah, I haven't really got a good classical background, so I kind of just feel it, and I'm not good at sight reading or anything. I just feel it, and hopefully it sounds all right.
And how do we think are we doing at Berklee? What do you think of us, professors of music?
Yeah, it's good. They're really good. I've learned a lot since I've been here, extremely a lot. And it's been helping with my writing as well, and just my playing in general, and meeting all these
Just the environment.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
It's really great. Yeah, like the.
Yeah, and there's so much music going around. Because like I'm from Sydney, Australia.
Yes.
So there's like one jazz club there called 505, and I used to go there all the time with my mates. And but yeah, now you come here and there's so much music playing everywhere. Like the other week I went down to Central Park and saw Stevie Wonder, which was insane. But yeah, it's cool.
And how many years have you three known each other?
We met like the first week of our first semester at Berklee. We were all in the same dorm, and yeah, we lived together for over a year now.
Mm-hmm. Why did you pick up these two out of hundreds of accomplished musicians at Berklee?
It was more like, I feel like we became friends first and then discovered we had a connection musically. But Nick in particular, we share a lot of music tastes, and you know,
What kind of music tastes do you share?
A lot of contemporary jazz. You know, we both listen to like old swing, dang-dang-a-lang, but we like people who can take it into a new direction in the 21st century, you know, and change it, make it more original. And so he was one of the first people I met who shared that interest. And Ben is just a killer bass player. He sound good no matter where you put him.
Do you three consider yourself to be outstanding students at Berklee? Just between us.
No, I wouldn't say so.
I think really I mean, like, when it comes to making music, I've always found that you make the best music with your best friends, you know, where there's no sort of, you know, oh, is he gonna like judge me if I'm not playing this certain way or whatever. You know, we get together and we just sit in our apartment or whatever, and we make music. That's.
Do you sometimes worry that you may not be a successful musicians in the eyes of the music industry, and then that you will have to look for an alternative career? That ever pass your mind? Or?
I think that's true with anything really, you know, in a way. There's always that kind of fear in the back of your mind that you're not going to, you know, be successful at what you want to do. But the thing that's so great about music is you don't have to make it for anyone but yourself, you know. So if you become successful at, you know, doing it and it becomes a career, then that's fantastic. And if not, a lot of people find ways to, you know, make ends meet however they do with music, you know, so like whether it be a teacher or whatever it is. So
we have about 3 minutes left, and I would like us to spend the 3 minutes with the three of you describing to the audience the pieces that you played and why you chose these pieces as opposed to others. Ed?
Well, they were all composed by Nick over here on the piano, and then we threw our grooves in the background. These are just songs that they started out as ideas or concepts back way at the beginning of Berklee, and now I feel like we're at the level where we can put ideas and concepts and parts of songs together and make one fluid song, you know. And these are just, you know, the products of what we've been working on for the past year.
Incredible. It shows. They were so smooth. And I said to myself, they must have rehearsed this for hours. Am I right, Nick? You must have written this very, very carefully.
Yeah, kind of. Like, when I write, I kind of, well, we did a cover, Ain't No Sunshine. But that's because he got that right.
The first tune we played.
Yeah. And then the rest I kind of come up with an idea, give it to these guys, and then let them do whatever they want, because I trust them with their choices, which is cool. And then they come up with good ideas that I can work off of.
And of course, out of this, you're planning to redirect the movement of jazz in a new direction.
I would like to, yes.
What kind of direction?
In a direction where people stop playing songs that are 80 years old and start writing new jazz songs and stray away from things people consider real jazz or whatever.
Redefining what jazz is,
essentially.
In a way.
How would you redefine jazz now?
Well, I mean, the way I personally perceive jazz is it's kind of, you know, whatever you want to make it. It is music. So I think, you know, in the same vein as like what Eddie's saying, is that instead of playing other people's tunes that have become standard so much, you know, just make whatever music you want to make. And that's really all. That's kind of how I see it.
Do you worry sometimes that these standard setters, Miles Davis, Coltrane...
Yeah. Oh, and we're not trying to bash those people. They're fantastic. And they definitely... Yeah.
But do you worry about that sometimes? Do you say, am I ever going to be as great as Coltrane? It doesn't matter how hard I work at this.
Not particularly.
We'll see when we get there. Yeah. You know, there's so much, those people, when they rose to fame, they were at least a little bit older than what we are now, and we're still students. You know, and music has a lot to do with how you live your life too, I think, you know, so you, as life goes on, you progress as a musician.
And what those guys did was they wrote the standards that we keep playing today, you know, so they were being innovative at a time when that music didn't exist, you know, so I feel if we can innovate our music well enough, then, you know, who knows, the sky's the limit.
Well, we have 1 minute left. What would you like to say to my audience? I'm sure the Berklee crowd in particular is tuned in now. What would you like to say to your colleagues at Berklee?
What's up?
Yeah, how's it going? Just that music isn't a competition. I feel like a lot of people treat it like it is and try to be the best and try and get the most gigs or the most money, and it's not. If you pay respects to the music, it'll respect you back.
Yeah, I think if you make the best, just try to make the best music you can, you know, and with people that you like.
Yeah, just keep playing the music. Jazz, man. It's crazy jazz.
Yeah, no, true though, really.
This has been your host, Teodros Kiros, for Afghan Ascent.